What is going on, everybody? We are back for another NFL video. This time it is the NFL Week 2 tier list. I'm going to be ranking all 32 of these NFL teams based on how they did and performed in Week 2. So let's get into it. So for starters, we got the Thursday night football game, the Commanders versus the Packers. The Packers won with 27 points and the Commanders fell short with 18 points. The Packers continued to show their dominance on defense, holding the Commanders to 18 points. The Commanders' offense couldn't really get anything going. Meanwhile, Jacobs and Kraft had a great night for the Packers. Jaden Daniels suffers a knee injury at the end of the game. There's not going to be a shocker here. Packers are going in the playoff ready category. You know, their defense is continuing to be dominant. I'm pretty sure they're going to be dominant for the entire season. And the Commanders, like I said, they couldn't get anything going on offense. So we're going to put them in the mid category for this week's sake. Next up, we got the Giants versus the Cowboys. The Cowboys won the game with 40 points, and the Giants lost with 37 points. I'm a lot more impressed this week with the Giants as compared to last week. This game kind of got off to a slow start, but then turned into a back-and-forth battle between these two teams. Russell had a lot of great throws, including the one to Robinson, but unfortunately, they had a costly interception in overtime to give the Cowboys the win. Come on, Russ. Come on. You know you can't be throwing the ball down there like that. Come on now. You knew better than that, dude. The New York Giants looked a lot better than they did last week. I'm gonna put the Giants in the played well category. And then with Dallas, you know, at least they won too, so we'll put Dallas in the played well category too. Next up, we got the Seahawks versus the Steelers. The Seahawks managed to win the game with 31 points and keeping the Steelers to 17 points. Pittsburgh managed to score 14 points in the first half, but only managed to get 3 more points in the second half. A costly interception by Rodgers in the third quarter and a touched kick return by Johnson ended up costing them the game. Johnson, why did you let the ball touch you and then let it just go in the end zone and not expect, you know, the Seahawks to go down there and pick it up? Because if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't have had them up by another score. You probably would have had the potential to go win that game. So, Steelers, come on. What are y'all doing, bro? Steelers, I'm going to put y'all in this category just because of that dumbass play by Johnson. I mean, y'all really deserve to lose that game after that happened. And then as far as the Seahawks go, you know, they put up 31 points. You know, we're going to put them in the played well category. Next up, we got the Rams, who won the game with 33 points versus the Titans, who only managed to score 19 points. Cam Ward manages to get his first NFL touchdown, but the Titans still fall short this week and are now 0-2. This week was a big week for both Nakua and Devontae Adams, both scoring touchdowns, and the Rams defense did a great job at holding the Titans to just 2 field goals in the second half. Titans need to find a way to get something going on offense because a lot of the throws from Ward seem rushed, and he had to scramble a lot to get that ball out to make some of those plays that he did. So it's really sloppy down in Tennessee right now with Cam Ward. Tennessee, you know, obviously they did better than they did last week because, you know, Cam Ward finally got his first NFL touchdown. So I don't think they deserve to go in the bottom category. I'm going to put them in the mid category. And then as far as the Rams go, we're going to put the Rams in the played well category. Next up, we got the Bills and the Jets. I don't think I need to say anything in regards to this game. I mean, Josh Allen destroyed the Jets this game. And yeah, they just destroyed the Jets this game. I think we can move on with this one. Next up, we got the Patriots and the Dolphins. The Patriots won the game with 33 points versus the Dolphins, who only had 27. The Dolphins once again fall short. At least this time, they actually had a chance. The Dolphins had a mandatory teams meeting this week to discuss player performance and expectations, but as we can see, they still managed to fall short in this game against the Patriots. Special teams with Washington is the only reason this game managed to be as close as it was, with him scoring the kick return touchdown. But it was still a loss in the end for the Dolphins. Tuich managed to find Waddle for a touchdown, and A-Chain also got a touchdown. But it was a silent week for Tyreek Hill, and for it being a silent week for your number one wide receiver who still hasn't got a touchdown in 2 weeks, that's saying something about your team, Dolphins fans. So, even though the Dolphins, they did better than they did last week, but I am going to put them in the mid category. I'm not going to put them in the bottom category just because their special teams did play a big part in this game, but I guess the mid category would be the best for the Dolphins this week. And then as far as the Patriots, they had their way with the Dolphins this week. We're going to put them in the played well category. Next up, we got the Jags and the Bengals. The Bengals won the game with 31 points, and the Jaguars were held to 27. Bengals lose Burrow before the end of the first half due to a toe injury and is now out for 3 months. It's a sad day for fantasy owners with Joe Burrow. I am one of those people, by the way. Bengals O-line needs to be better at protecting Joe Burrow, or he's going to be injury prone for the rest of his career. You got to protect Burrow. I mean, you can't just let him get sacked over and over and over again. You got to protect the man. The Bengals managed to find Chase and Higgins this week, both of them scoring touchdowns, and the defense managed to keep them in front this game with a couple of game-saving interceptions. The Jags looked better this week than they did last week, with Lawrence showing us some of that magic like he had a few years ago in this game, but they still managed to fall short. I'm going to put the Bengals in the played well category this week, just because they managed to pull the victory out, even though Burrow got hurt. And this week is what Bengals fans, besides the injury, this is what they wanted to see. They wanted to see Jamar Chase get a touchdown. They wanted to see T. Higgins, both of their star receivers, get touchdowns, especially after their contract extensions. So Bengals fans got to see that this week, and that's exactly what they got. And the Jags, they also played pretty well. I'm going to put them in the played well category too. Next up, we got the 49ers versus the Saints. 49ers had 26 points, and the Saints were held to 21 points. The 49ers are starting to look like they did last year, injury-wise. They didn't have Purdy or Kittle this game, but at least McCaffrey and Jennings managed to step up and put this game on their backs this week. The Saints looked decent for a team going up against a backup quarterback, but they managed to come up short on their drive at the very end, and they couldn't convert the last fourth down, thus ending the game for the Saints. The 49ers had some really good plays during this game with their backup quarterback. And plus McCaffrey ended up stepping up, since he was injured last year and he had a quiet week 1. But I think the 49ers did really good this week, so we're going to put them in the played well category. And then as far as the Saints go, they scored 21 points and they managed to keep up. It came down to the last drive. So I guess we're going to put them in the mid category. Now, as far as the Bears and the Lions go, I don't need to cover this game. Lions, come on. Y'all destroyed them, okay? We already know where you're going in this category. We already know where you're going. The Lions destroyed the Bears, 52-21, okay? Caleb Williams, you looked good last week, at least in the first half, but this week you got boat stomped, okay? We don't need to cover this game anymore. Next up, we got the Cardinals versus the Panthers. The Cardinals won the game with 27 points, and the Panthers lost with 22 points. Bryce Young continues to show that he's garbage. And at least he did a little better this week than he did last week, though. So I'll give him that. But they still lost the game. Three fumbles and a costly pass interference kept them far behind in the early game. They kept the game close in the second half, but still, they came up short. Not much on this game. Besides, like I said, Bryce Young did a little better than he did last week. It was mostly a defensive game. It ended up being a back and forth between the defense for a while. But the Cardinals ended up coming up with the victory. We're going to put the Cardinals in the mid-tier because I don't really think they played that well in this game. And then we're going to put the Panthers also. We're going to put the Panthers in the last category because, like, it's Bryce Young, and I think Bryce Young is garbage. Next up, we got the Falcons versus the Vikings. The Falcons defense managed to keep the Vikings only at 6 points this game and managed to just bully McCarthy in this offense. McCarthy ended up getting injured because of this game and is expected to now be out for 2 to 4 weeks with an ankle injury. Can you really be surprised by this news? I mean, McCarthy missed his entire rookie year last year. And now he's only played one full NFL game. Well, I guess he played this one full too, but now that's all he's got under his resume so far. So this is technically his rookie year, and he's injured again. So what can you do if you're the Vikings? I mean, you should have just kept Sam Darnold. You should have just paid Sam Darnold the money. I mean, Sam Darnold took y'all to the playoffs last year. And you got a guy in J.J. McCarthy who missed his entire rookie year being injured, and now he's injured again. So now, Vikings fans, you're screwed. So with these two teams, the Vikings, I think they're going in the booty butt cheeks category because, you know, that's where they deserve to be. And then as far as the Falcons played good. I don't think they played well, but we're going to put them in the mid category because I don't think they played that well, but, you know, they managed to win. So we're going to put them in the mid category. Next up, we got the Browns versus the Ravens. The Ravens won the game with 41 points, and the Browns lost with 17 points. Now, early on in this game, the Ravens had me a little worried because it was a back and forth between Lamar and Joe Flacco, and it was close for the beginning part of the game, and that's what was worrying me with these Ravens because, you know, they're known to blow leads and blow the games. They're known for blowing games that can easily be won. And I started to get a little worried until the second half. The second half, Lamar Jackson and them, they just went off. You know, it was a quiet night for fantasy fans who have Derrick Henry. You know, like me, this guy. I have Derrick Henry in my fantasy, and what did he scored like 2 fantasy points. So it was a quiet week for fantasy people who have Derrick Henry on their roster. But the Ravens managed to pull the victory out, and we saw more magic from D-Hop, who a lot of people say is washed. I'm not one of those people, but, you know, he managed to pull out another surprising catch for a touchdown. So I don't think it's no surprise with the Ravens. We're putting them in the playoff ready category. They put up another 40 points in week 2. And the Browns, you know, with the pick from Roquan Smith, the fumble with Roquan Smith and the fact that Joe Flacco just couldn't get anything going, you know, the Browns are going in that category. Next up, we got the Broncos versus the Colts. The Colts won with 29 points, and the Broncos were held to 28 points. Mr. Danny Dimes continues to show everyone that he might just be the next Baker Mayfield of the NFL. So far, he's been thriving in Indianapolis. These last 2 games compared to his entire career in New York. This game was pretty much a back and forth game. Denver's offense continued to look really good, but this week their defense kind of took a nosedive. Last week, I couldn't bless the Denver Broncos defense enough, but this week they kind of fumbled and took a nosedive. The Broncos, last week they were in the top category. I still think they played well, but like I said, they pretty much lost this game because of their defense this week. So we're going to put them in the played well category this week. And then the Colts, on the other hand, they're also going to be going in the playoff. They're also going to be going in the played well category this week. Next up, we got the Buccaneers versus the Texans. The Buccaneers won the game with 20 points versus the Texans, who had 19 points. This game started with a back-to-back scoring drives, but ended up being slow the rest of the game, honestly. The Texans O-line played a big part in the Texans losing this game with, C.J. Stroud having to scramble and getting sacked multiple times. And pretty much the Buccaneers won this game because Baker Mayfield locked in for that last drive, and they managed to win the game. So I think Baker Mayfield played well this game, so we're going to put them in the played well this week category. And as far as the Texans, last week I ranked them pretty harsh, but this week they stepped up a little bit, so we're going to put them in the mid category. Next up, we got the Eagles versus the Chiefs. The Eagles went in the Arrowhead, and they put their feet up on the Chiefs' couch once again. The Eagles managed to pull this victory out with a couple of tush pushes and a Saquon Barkley touchdown. The Eagles had a huge interception recovery thanks to Travis Kelce, and this helped the Eagles march down the field to get Jalen Hurts his tush push touchdown. The Chiefs are now left wondering if their offense can make plays without their key starters, Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy, but they'll be back in no time. They'll be back in a few weeks. The Chiefs are now 0-2 for the first time under the Patrick Mahomes era. So it's no doubt that the Eagles are going back in the top category. But this week, surprisingly, KC, in my opinion, I don't know if I can put them in the last category, but it's damn near close. I mean, if it weren't for Travis Kelce, they would have stayed in this game. Maybe have even won the game. I guess we're going to put them in the back end of the mid category. And then the final game this week, we got the Chargers versus the Raiders. The Chargers won with 20 points, and the Raiders had 9 points. I don't have much on this game. It was pretty much the Chargers' defense won them this game. They had Geno Smith scrambling the entire night, sack after sack, and they just kept him at bay all night. So the Chargers are 2-0, and I honestly think they are playoff ready. So we're going to put them in the top category, and we're going to put the Raiders in the booty butt cheeks category. Do you agree with my list? How did your favorite NFL team pan out this week? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me also know in the comments below how you're doing in your fantasy leagues. If you liked the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe so it'll help me bring out more content like this. We'll be back next week for week 3. Adios.